Hey, Michael, it was only a couple of months ago, the Canadian Prime Minister was absolutely going to come from the Conservative bloc. It was a lay-down misère. Then Donald Trump went to war against the Canadians, threatened to make them the 51st state. Pierre Poilievre, I don't know, I think it's looking tough for him. How damaging has this all been?
Well, I think the Donald Trump effect is in every democratic society around the world, and it favours incumbents because people are scared, including in Australia, by, what do these tariff changes mean? Let's rally round the flag, let's rally round the government. So I think in Canada, Trudeau may have resigned in fear of what Trump would do, but certainly the sort of wild economic effects of these tariffs, especially when there are auto parts coming back and forth across the borders, is going to increase the price of American cars. It's definitely having an effect in Canada, and I think it is here too. When those Zelensky scenes were on TV, I think that's the immediate point at which Peter Dutton's polling fell.
I absolutely agree with that. I think it was the scenes we saw out of the White House, Michael. Australians had a lot of affection for the Ukraine fight, and I think that took the wind out of the sails of the coalition. Just on that, Kosher, because I know you watched Canada very closely. I mean, Mark Carney is not even in the Parliament. He's got a long history as the Governor of the Bank of England and other economic portfolios. Yes, he's a mad sort of climate zealot, but in these economic times, in this pushing and shoving that's going on with the United States, I think that's where he's gaining ground from Poilievre.
Yes, I think, Michael's right. The Trump effect and just the uncertainty that it's creating with this very bold strategy that he has does lead to fear and fear of the unknown with the new candidate. I think the only path for Pierre Poilievre would have been, or still could be, to show higher contrast, not lower contrast, where Mark Carney comes out of central casting for the other side of politics, very much a globalist, has 3 passports, a central banker. That has advantages, but it has lots of disadvantages as well. And if he can make the appeal to the working class of Canada around immigration and other things in that nature, I think that's kind of where his blueprint could have some merit, but otherwise it looks like it really is slipping away from him.
Hey, I've been watching very closely too, Kosher, that the fallout from that Supreme Court ruling in the United Kingdom, it can't be appealed. The only way it could perhaps be done over is legislation through the Commons. That's not going to happen. Even Keir Starmer has discovered the definition of a woman. But the activism and the protest from the transgender movement, I was surprised at the level of their outrage.
It is, the scale of it is really quite stunning. There's been vandalism and other things like that, unfortunately, that have taken place as well. In a way, it's not surprising to me because this group, Peta, is one of the most rabidly active out of all grievance groups out there. The trans activist lobby is really, really loud and strong, and they're just able to organize and spring into action immediately when these things happen. They get cover from celebrities. The Bridgerton actress apparently weighed in and is helping raise money and all of that. So that sort of thing kind of astroturfs them and pops them up. But as you say, this was a landmark ruling. They're certainly on the back foot now.
Michael, what's the latest about this signal leaking or the signal chat involving the US Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth? Because this has just gone on and on and on. It hasn't gone away.
It's more significant than it appears, Peter, because this is the weakening of Hegseth, the weakening of Waltz, the weakening of Rubio, and the strengthening of JD Vance and Tulsi Gabbard, the isolationist. You can see that in Witkoff's behaviour in Gaza, Iran, and in Ukraine. And I just point people to that brilliant interview that Bolt did with General Keane last Thursday. It's a frightening scenario.
Let's just put something up on the screen, Michael, too. This is not international. This is very important, though, the Australian election. Jewish groups have expressed their disappointment at Labor's decision, your party's decision, to preference the Greens basically right across the country, bar for one seat. Here's the latest edition of the Australian Jewish News. That is Mark Dreyfus, and he is preferencing the Greens, number 2 in his own seat.
Albo and Dreyfus shouldn't have done it, Peter. A woman, Faruqi, had the Jews in the bin next to her. Imagine what happened to Tony Abbott when he had the ditch the witch behind him. She should have been driven out of politics, Faruqi. And the Leong, the leader in New South Wales, the tentacles. shouldn't have been done, big mistake, and should be punished for it politically, but won't be.